Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special live episode of the Cross Commission Podcast. My name is Saif Fakadu. On the other line with me is Jake Nazar. Jake, big Wednesday, big game. Oh my God, how you feeling, kid?
I'm good. Uh, we are flying into uncharted territory here, uh, as I am at the controls uh, of the the Cross Commission podcast this evening. We've got producer Jake Nazar. Uh, I kind of have like no idea. I kind of have no idea what I'm doing.
DJJN on the
So
ones and twos.
So like we'll see how this goes. Yeah, we normally tape these things on Wednesday. I'll be honest, I kind of like totally forgot. Um, that this thing was this Syracuse-Duke game. Um, Ryan just told us we're live and both coming in clear, so there we go. Perfect.
Yeah.
Let's make it
Ryan, you like
happen.
the shirt? No, I know you're not a Giants fan, but I thought Ryan would at least appreciate it. The
Uh,
making fun of me.
so we we're gonna I kind of totally forgot that the Syracuse Duke game was happening this evening, and once I remembered that it was happening again, we normally tape these on Wednesdays. I was like, I like 2 hours ago, I was like, Safe, you want to go live? And he was like, sure.
Let's go.
And then
Whose car are we taking? Just like Renner.
exactly. And then Safe, he was like, I'll kind of be distracted by the game, and I was like, well, why not? So we're gonna turn this into watch along. You can turn the game on, hop in the chat, watch along with us, throw in any thoughts you got. Watch along with us during commercial breaks, stoppages, halftime. We'll chat about whatever else pops up with results of last night's games. This weekend. Kind of how we guess would normally sort of do it with the weekend preview. So this will be our Syracuse-Duke watch along / weekend preview. Sort of fun, kind of new thing we're doing. We're always trying new things here at the Cross Commission. So let's have fun. Let's hang out.
No, Jake, it was a perfect idea. It's spur of the moment, but sometimes our best ideas. But I don't know if you want to do a little bit of memory lane, but that Princeton Cornell game, and then we're gonna talk about Fulham here for that. But I figured just we can vamp a little bit until the game starts. But just incredible. I mean, joke around maybe the worst weekend in lacrosse. It's definitely for the brand. It's our team. But in terms of theater and just really, pure entertainment for the chaos of it all, like the Princeton Cornell game was, it's going to be tough to beat. We literally memorialized it on our Instagram page. We never put stories or save them, but I put a whole bunch of pics and videos. It's a great game all around. I won a T-shirt. Which never has happened. I just loved it. Watching the review and in real time as the home fans, respectfully disagree with that call. The Cornell goal was great, and seriously, the ending. I mean, it was both I guess for a horror movie for the Princeton fans, but Cornell showed up.
That's a perfect way to describe it.
Yeah, it because the shift in momentum, because I kind of positioned myself behind. I was on the main steps. I was like, oh, this would be a great angle. It's right around 15 seconds. All right, perfect. Not that much time. It was something's going to happen here. And Coulter, kind of had the turnover, and I was just Gilmar picked it up, and I was like, there's a good amount of time, and you just could hear the energy. Literally, it almost just dissipate from the Princeton side. Started going to the Cornell side. After a couple passes and Dooley just with the goal. I mean, it sounded. listen to the replays. It sounded great on TV because, like, the Cornell fans, but literally on the Princeton side, it was like I never saw like that, kind of from that angle because like it was just turned around. And I just see all these Princeton just it's shock, horror, like it was both just sat. It was locked eyes with this one fan because my head was like this. I didn't know what else to say. I was like, I'm sorry, I was like, I'm powerless here. But just a wonderful game in terms of like the ending. Just this unexpected. That's kind of always great thing about sport we always talk about. It's just like this is an unscripted drama. Every game. So there's usually some unique occurrence, but definitely always going to be different from any other game. So it was just really cool to be at that one. You know, I can't say the same for some Princeton fans, I'm sure, but great day at the box office, as we keep saying. The box office is back, Jake. Like the in-game experience, I think, like post-COVID, now we have some of the power teams like getting back, and like I said, I'm just super excited for our April 20th game with Hopkins, Maryland. So I think this is going to be a party. So.
It was really, I think it was perfect describe. It really felt like a slow moving like car wreck.
Oh God, yes.
Was like I feel like the perfect way to like just describe it. It really was because like McAfee throws it in the dirt, and which he does not need to do at all. Like just not there's no need, there's no like there's what's that I mean it's like it's totally unnecessary. There's no need for this. And so and then like as it's sort of like unfolding and you watch it like happening, you're like there's no way they can score on this, right? And like then they keep getting closer and closer to the goal, and you're like, oh no, oh no, and it's like, oh wow, this is gonna happen as they let the shot go, and it's the Princeton reactions walking off the field were like just kind of mortifying. It was truly like someone, and I think it was Jack Joyce on our Twitter account who described it best. He's like, it really is like it's like I can't look away, and yet like I can't watch either. Like just this whole game because it's like it really was a terrible lacrosse game. I mean, like everything about it, like the defense on both sides is truly bad.
I was gonna say we need to meme always on time because like there's that great Ashanti song always on time. So like whenever you're in the chat when the defense shows up and you're like there they are on time, the song just plays in my head. So like but you're right, both defenses Princeton had a pretty decent one coming in, but no, you're right, it was kind of a poor showing for both.
Yeah, and then Princeton's clearing was just oh my god. Cornell wasn't even like riding that hard, and yet Princeton couldn't clear like at all. So it's just really bad. Like they just couldn't out. There's really safe. I mean, there's really like an epidemic of clearing in this country. we gotta do something about this.
We need a clearing czar. Well, whatever administration, that's the only thing that we'll talk about politics. Whatever administration comes in, we need a clearing czar.
President Biden, like he could we could win some of these swing states if he could just figure out the clear. Promise to some of these teams figure out their clearing. It's really just bad.
You see a speech in Reading, like, this cannot go on anymore.
What is going on with the clearing?
What is malarkey?
So it was bad, and then but like you just on one hand you just can't look away because it's just I mean there are goals going in, so yeah, obviously a huge win for Cornell. It gets them to where were they at in the um, in I think they moved into like the top 10 in like RPI, I think, um, which is crazy, considering where they're at before. Um, so really kind of changed sort of the outlook, and they obviously get a big Ivy win to start off the season. Um, so that was the consequential result on Sunday. The consequential result yesterday, safe, is St. Joe's beats Penn. First time St. Joe's has beat Penn in 6 years. And the last couple had really been heartbreakers. I think the last three had all been by one goal. I think there are a couple overtime ones in there as well. A couple blown leads in there. So some really brutal loss for the Hawks against the Quakers. But this time, wire to wire, no problem. Just a real comfortable victory for St. Joe's over Penn. And man, that's a really brutal loss for Penn. They were ranked inside the top 20. I think they're ranked 12th. Doesn't help their tournament kind of outlook. With that's gonna stick a bad loss on the resume. Kind of puts they didn't look great in their first Ivy game. I think it'd be Brown and just didn't really get anything going at all. And lose rivalry game to St. Joe's. St. Joe's, meanwhile, after starting 0-3, you look at their first three games. They lost to BU, and they were kind of competitive in that game. They lost to Duke. Then obviously they lost to Towson, by a lot. They were all three were kind of decent margins of defeat. But those are three decent teams. I mean, two of those teams are in the top 20. Or our top 20. I don't know if Towson's in the IL top 20. I know Towson's in our top 20. But Towson's gotten some big. Towson put some whooping on some teams. But St. Joe's has come back and they've won their last 4 games, all by pretty solid margins of victory. So, might not be, might not want to rule the Hawks out of the A10 race so far. They've been a lot better in March than they were in February. But a big win there for St. Joe's, finally able to get one over Penn, first since COVID. I think like the last game they played before COVID was the heartbreaker to Penn. That was when Mike Adler was still at St. Joe's. I remember that game. He made a bunch of great saves. But they came up short, and they finally get a win over Penn. But that's one that Penn is going to regret if they're in the mix come Selection Sunday.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because especially if Duke continues to play as strong as they have, it would be great to be the only team that beats Duke. Maybe they get like another ACC loss, but
yeah, Mark just mentioned for us. Cornell's 9th in RPI. Mark was in the chat. Just shine that out for us.
Oh, for sure. Thank you. Do you want to do poll things or talk about more of the games? Because I know
we can absolutely.
We may need to adjust our on time and late things, Jay, because I think 2 of our teams may be a few minutes behind.
Oh, yeah. We kind of did our, weekend recap. Saturday. I think might be fair to kind of move Maryland to the white. Kind of we had Maryland's back to neutral compared to last season. They were 5-2 in the non-con a year ago. They're 5-2 now. They made up the Loyola win, but they dropped the Virginia win, or they made up the Loyola loss, but they dropped the Virginia win. They get a chance to make up another loss from last. They get a chance to make up for 2 losses from last year this weekend against Michigan. 2 of the most ignominious losses of the John Tillman era. You would say no one really. I mean, you can really not. I would say kind of. No one ever very few teams ever, I think, exposed out of the world. I mean, just but put a whooping on
That
Maryland the way
was
Michigan
that
did.
was a throttling.
Yes, especially the second one. The first one was, Maryland was kind of like kept it at, within sort of touching distance, and into like the second half. There were moments where they tried to kind of get into it. I think Owen Murphy went down in that game, but and then I guess maybe the second one you could mention they were without Ajax Zapatello, the Big Ten championship game, but the Big Ten championship game wasn't really ever close. Um, that was Michigan sort of at their just during that the run they were at. I mean they were just firing on all cylinders. It was a thumping. You know, so certainly I listened to Tillman's presser after the end of the Virginia game, and he mentioned how he certainly figured Virginia was going to be up for the Maryland game because they had lost 3 in a row, and the last one was at Charlottesville, and the 2 before that were thumpers from Maryland. I think you certainly figure Maryland will be up for this one, considering coming off 2 thumpers. But Michigan needs this win. Coming out of the non-con, as I pull up my TV for Q's around here, or Q's Duke, pardon me. Michigan really needs this win coming out of a non-con where the Wolverines, to put it kindly, accomplished nothing. Didn't beat Virginia, didn't beat Notre Dame, lost to Harvard. So, as Big Ten play gets started, I think you could really you could honestly say that the bottom half of the Big Ten, Rutgers, Ohio State, Michigan, none of them really did anything, because Rutgers' best win is UMass. So none of them really accomplished much. Rutgers maybe looked the best, but even still, it didn't accomplish much. So certainly, Michigan has motivation as well. They're gonna need to come up fire and get a win. But yeah, Maryland certainly. March has not been kind to the Terps. Sort of, I guess, an inverse of last year, where February was not kind, but March looked a little bit better. But they've kind of wound up in the same place, and it'll be interesting to see how they can kind of see if they can rebound in Big Ten play. They start with 2 tough ones on the road. They get they're you could argue maybe that it's the toughest schedule they could have gotten in Big Ten play. They got to go on the road to Michigan, Penn State, and Hopkins. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle that.
Because now it's going to be almost like 2 scorpions in a bottle with Hopkins, because they both have pretty decent wins. That Syracuse win for Maryland looks better and better. Hopkins lost to Syracuse. Maryland doesn't have a bad loss like Hopkins does now. I mean, technically with Navy could get a little bit better, but that's going to be kind of weighing on them as well. So that's kind of what I fear. Both teams, now kind of looking to finish at least 3-2 in the Big Ten to really kind of give themselves some breathing. A, you get the week off if you get the top seed, top 2 seeds, and then B, just being able to have I think that Hopkins Maryland game is going to be kind of crucial for both teams. Jake, so just kind of up in the stakes, but it looks like they're just about to start here.
Safe, who you got tonight?
You know what, Jake? I'm going with the Blue Devils.
Looks like we got 9 folks join us, so thank you everyone who's hopping in. It's got a decent house. Safe, you're going with the Blue Devils?
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna. I just saw Syracuse is wearing navy helmets, orange jerseys, and navy shorts, and I'm definitely going with Duke. This Q's look is not pleasing me. In all seriousness, I think I'm gonna lean Duke as well. Uh, it's tough. Look, when Cuse gets momentum like this, when they're at home, uh,
Hmm.
they're a they're a tough team to you know they're tough to pick against. We talked about this. Was it about a month ago? Was it before the Maryland game? Um, I want to say, uh, and we talk about like the dome as like an inanimate object or like like a you know
It's like Mordor. Yeah.
yeah yeah it has like a life of its it has a life of its own. Good save by Mark. Uh, it just, especially you can get a lead on them, and you can feel like you're in control of the game, and it no lead is really safe. Corrigan used to, talk about that back in the day. It's like it feels like it's alive, you know. It the way they can just kind of come back in these games, especially when the crowd gets into it. It certainly looks like they got a decent crowd there tonight. Um, you know, and the fans are obviously definitely going to begin behind this team. They have been behind this team, I think, from the beginning of the season, but they were waiting for that big win, um, and they got it against Hopkins. You know, so it's hard to pick against the dome is one of the real home field advantages in the sport, up there with I think Ridley, probably Klockner, uh, Denver. Certainly when they're riding high. So it is hard to pick against them. I don't know. I, I think Duke's in their stride. Uh, I think kind of you were talking about this weekend. Like Duke was either going to win by like one against Richmond or they were going to shoot him into the sun. And I don't think Duke is going to shoot Syracuse into the sun. I think this is going to be a good game because I think Mason Cone really has been one of the big transfers of the off season for Cuse. I think he get like if this was last year, and last year was the game where what it was Hughes played him close, right? Uh,
Yeah,
but Duke hit like how many like 19 something
like
pipes
four
or
or five.
whatever it was.
Yeah.
And Cuse did Cuse the year before that Cuse beat him. So this has been a matchup. Oh, and what is it? Is this the set? Uh, was last year the one like the first time Duke had won in the dome or something?
Yeah, that was the whole thing. They never had beaten Syracuse at Syracuse for. I mean, the
Yeah.
Syracuse wasn't that depth, but yeah, that was something Syracuse had.
So uh, that's certainly something to it's kind of crazy. Um, the games obviously like in that kind of it's going to make you good skip pass, make you kind of consider things. Um, but like if this was like last year's face off matchup, when Cubes like didn't have a face off, I'd kind of really lean towards Duke. I think the way they're kind of coming into their own here. Um, but I think Duke feels like a team hitting its stride. I really like Patrick Jameson in the goal for them, as they just put up his number here, saving 61% as a freshman. That's
Mm.
that's pretty. It's pretty good. um, and I think they've started to really figure out their lineup, putting that kind of largely the midfield from last year. Balsamo and Denenza back together. Zawada is we talk about Mason Cone is maybe the best. One of the key. There's a goal. Duke strikes first. Uh,
Yeah.
Talk about Zawada. Or Mason Cone is one of the key transfer portal acquisitions. Zawada might be the most important. Uh, those times where O'Neal doesn't have the ball, like it's not the end of the world. Because they can really put the ball in the hands of Zawada behind the cage, and that offense seems to really thrive. So, yeah, I just think Duke's kind of feels like in the 6-on-6 they'll be able to kind of edge things. Um, and that's Ben Johnson. He's kind of been one of the younger guys who's been able to get some minutes as well and have success. So yeah, I think Duke's midfield able to win some matchups against the Q shorties. I like Jameson. For that defense, I just think Duke's probably a little bit better team. But I think it's going to be a good game. And I did really kind of think about Cuse. I think this year is going to be. I think Cuse is going to win. What's if I give you over under 1.5 on Cuse in these? Oh. Ooh, man. If I give you over under 1.5 on Cuse against Duke, UVA, and Notre Dame this year, how many are you taking?
I'll take the over on that.
You think they win 2 against Duke, UVA, and Notre Dame?
I think they can. Where's the UVA game?
I think it's.
Yeah, last year there's 2 games. You're right. One game was overtime at Syracuse that Syracuse lost, and then they lost by 3 at Durham. So those 2 games last year between these two. What's the schedule? Where's I'm on the schedule page? They got all right. Notre Dame's added a lot. Okay, maybe not that one. UVA's at the Dome.
That could be.
I don't think they're going to win the front, so yeah, I'm going to take the under. Because I mean, I've already paid Duke in this game. Well, I'm going to get Duke. Yeah. I don't think they.
Take them over Virginia. Take them over Virginia at the Dome. Maybe
That's what I say. Yeah, if it's at the Dome, yeah.
All right, I'll give you over under half. Do you think they could be Virginia? Is Virginia at the Dome or is it in Clockman?
Virginia's at the Dome.
I think yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm going to pick them to win that, but I think they could. Yeah, I think I'll give them one of these 3. I think they win one of these 3. I don't think they win 2 because I'm not going to pick them to beat Duke, but I think they win and I think they beat North Carolina.
Yeah.
So I think they win. I think they win 2 ACC games.
That gets them into the semifinals. Gives you another RPI booster. If they play Virginia again, maybe they make a crazy ACC championship run, but Virginia probably won't be that. They probably won't play them again in the semifinals.
Well, are they doing? Yeah, I guess they're doing the 4-5 for the ACC.
Is everybody getting in? Yeah. I think
Adam sharing with me. He's not a fan of Cuse's jerseys. I'm sharing the chat. Cuse looks like vomit. Adam also Duke trying and failing to get early in the portal, settling for Racco or the Prince of Backup another year of Helm, and then their freshman goalie somehow ending up the best goalie in the country is so preposterous. Listen, man, Dino, it's just he lives a charmed life. He's got that juice. He's a special guy, you know.
He gets it done, you know.
He's that guy, man.
What's the attire for Dana today? Black.
Ryan shared it in the
pullover
in the chat. Ryan shared it in the chat.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I think you're still sharing the poll screen.
Okay.
I don't know. But Ryan had it in the chat. What does he got? We've got. Ryan said, "Is Dana wearing his sailor's cap for riding his boat around Long Island in the summer?"
Yeah, he's ready. He's already ready for summer.
Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if somebody tweeted it out on the timeline. I don't know. He was wearing the cap. I think he just had the pullover.
Let's clap Dana.
You know, kind of a dome Dano tonight. Looks like what we're going for.
This is a little chilly out there. Yeah, nice little pullover.
Yeah.
All right, so this game looks like we're gonna have a good one. Syracuse about to run an extra man.
Yeah. What's their extra man? What's Cuse extra man percentage tonight? If anyone in the chat can shout it out. I feel like their extra man has not been as good. Like the last year, it was like if you put him on the extra man, it was like, all right, like forget about it. Like
fuck it.
It's over. I feel like their extra man has not been as good this year. Oh, there he is. There's Dino. He had the cap and then the black pullover. But yeah, I feel like Cuse man up is not as lethal this year has in years past. But of course, now that I say this, they're definitely going to score here, um, and I might be wrong about this.
Yeah. Scored.
Yeah, no real that look. I feel like is just this year has been the they're doing the light show deal in the
It's a
dome.
party, Jake. It's a party.
It's
Um,
the that's the look. That one. Let me see what Q's. Yeah, Q's this year 22nd in man up offense, which for them comparison, that look by like when they feed it inside to the guy in like the high slot. I feel like that is like nobody's been stopping that. Notre Dame, I feel like scored on that play against Maryland man up like every time. I don't know. It feels like it's just sort of a kind of whatever it is for right now. It is working. So yeah, Q's able to kind of weather the storm there.
so, throw some at you, Jake. Just get back to Duke. Rarely do we see teams with number 1 or 2 off adjusted offensive efficiency and adjusted defensive efficiency.
Where are they at right now? Are they?
They're top 2 in both, Jake. They are top 2. Yes, they're second behind Richmond in adjusted defensive efficiency, and they're second behind Notre Dame in adjusted offensive efficiency. And the only reason
Where did Notre Dame finish last year? If you go to Notre Dame's page, you can find the.
Yep. So they were 40.1 last year in offense and 20.6 last year in defense. So they're Jesus, yeah. 5 percentage points, 45% this year, and a little bit of slippage in defense at 22.9, but still pretty good for being the number.
So Notre Dame in rank last year, they were second in offense and first in defense.
Now they're first in offense, third in defense.
Pretty good. Notre Dame's been top 3 in offense or defense 3 years in a row.
And face-off percentage is 60 as opposed to 52.1 last year.
Yeah, they're 11th this year in face-off percentage. Notre Dame has been in this is the last 4 years. The numbers back it up. Like from 2016 through 2020, Notre Dame was 28th, 14th, 20th, 22nd, 19th in offensive efficiency. Defensive efficiency, they've only had 1 year where they were outside the top 10. It was 2018. Face-off, they've only had 2 years in the top 10. It was 2019 and then 2021. That was the year they had Gallagher and Leonard. Goalie play, 2015 and 2016 was elite. Who were the goalies in 2015 and 2016? Was it Shane Doss? I think it was Doss. Yeah.
It was.
I think that's who it was. After that, it kind of dipped a bit. But, yeah. Last 4 years for Notre Dame, it's just been top 10 in basically everything. Offense, defense, and save percentage. Face-off has been the only thing, aside from that was pretty mediocre. But anyhow, yeah, your point. We rarely see teams, continue, yeah.
No, that was it. It's just that, is this potentially a super team, and just like that Penn loss is taking, too much, kind of almost like that Colgate win over Penn State. You are what your record is, so they lost that game, and it was at home. It's not really, it was pretty nice.
He's got to keep the real. No, in the Greece. This kid is unreal.
Yeah.
This guy he's something, man. I think it's hard. I mean, clearly when you look at what Duke and Notre Dame and their ability to super team is tricky because clearly what the COVID era has done is allowed these teams to rise up into where previously the best teams would all kind of rank in the top 10. I think they've been able to kind of like put themselves in the top 5 of offensive efficiency more. How do you qualify as a super team? I mean, the super team always qualifier to me was always, 06 Virginia was the super team.
Undefeated.
Yeah, and
Right.
then 05 Hopkins. 05 Hopkins was always, there was a charmed quality to that team. A lot of one, but look, you went undefeated. So I think, you can put them in that group. Maybe I viewed them personally a tier below, like 06 Virginia and then 22 Maryland.
That's fair. I always make the joke that Hop 05 birth 06 just because to kind of give them that edge that we always talk about if you have a experience as a last year's Final Four. But no, you're right. Like in terms of like we didn't have lacrosse reference back then, but yeah, I'm sure the efficiency.
The dominance of 06 Virginia was different too.
That was what we saw last year. Like if I'm comparing Maryland's 2022 to those other two undefeated, it's more Virginia undefeated season than it was the Hopkins undefeated.
And to your point, will we ever see, like 22, like Locke's reference, 22 Maryland, 1-1-1-1?
So that's it. They're not going to get the face off, I don't think. But in terms of dominance, again, Penn game aside, that was kind of why I wasn't trying to diss Richmond last week, where I said like could potentially get shot into the side. I just meant like I thought Duke was just like we're taking care of business, family business type of thing. Like all the teams that kind of given them trouble the seasons past, they just absolutely creamed, including St. Joe's and Jacksonville. And, the Richmond game was close for a half, but then, Duke kind of wrote it out. So that's what I was saying. Like, it's starting to give me a little bit of vibes of other, like, elite teams. And, they won't be potentially like a super team because they're not going to be undefeated. But, if they went out, like, I think we would definitely have to, like, reevaluate where we put this new team, especially with the numbers that they finish up. Another one there by Leo.
Obviously, like it's the Maryland Virginia tier, like that's different. But I mean, certainly, using the body. I think when you kind of think of like, classify, like teams that gets like a number 1 seed, you've got that rare tier of the super team, and then you've got your Maryland. I think of kind of your wire to wire number 1 type team, or your kind of teams you think of as like a cut above number 1 seeds. Your 2019 Penn State. Obviously, they didn't win the title, so maybe if you want to quibble with that, you could. Maybe like a 2016,
2021 Virginia.
Yeah, they're an interesting one. I mean, they won 2 in a row, and they were never number 1 seed either year. Virginia is so fascinating because they've won how many titles, and aside from the 06 year, so many of them seem to be out of nowhere. Like 11 was Starja, the 2 Lars ones.
That's a big one in my head. Yeah.
The last Starja one.
Well, 3-1, they shouldn't have beat Hopkins. You can definitely make it like just that was I don't know. That was a super team.
Hopkins was the 1 seed in 03, right?
That was my graduate year, Jake. I was so disappointed. We've gone over that plenty of times, but yeah, like that was a Virginia team that just had that inside straight, and then Tillman Johnson just had a weekend to remember.
I think for Duke, the best Duke teams I remember are the 2014 team, the back-to-back, the second half of the back-to-back. When Miles Jones broke out really, and they had Jordan Wolfe still, and Brendan Fowler last year, and then Hughes escapes there on the clear transition.
Oh god!
How about this?
There it is.
Else with a goal. He's getting some
I bet it's loud. I bet it's. This is too.
scrappy goals here.
Owen
So,
helps.
uh,
Yeah, it is
to
loud.
continue my point that I had there, the ones I think of with Duke are the the 20 the 2020 the 2014 team, the second half of the national championship, and then the one that lost to Hopkins in 08. Not the first year in 07, but the Rabel's senior year.
Yeah,
08.
yeah.
That was Duke. That Duke team was. I think was that Danowski's last year. I think it might have been. I think it was Danowski's senior year. That Duke team just like pulverized people. Kind of similar, this year. And I think they only lost 2 games. They only lost like 1 game. I think they beat Hopkins by like 10 goals in the regular season.
Yeah, they just. It was. I remember that regular season game. Absolutely.
And that was like really it. I think who was Hopkins' goalie at that point? Was it Gvozden? Like just
Big
made
Mikey
just a
G.
litany of saves in that game. And at that point, really, it was like sort of like it felt like Duke was never going to beat Hopkins, which unfortunately for you, safe it didn't stay that way.
Yeah, then.
But
I think I remember. I'm glad the chat wasn't around because I would have been saying the new Quinn Christmas, right? We're talking about Gavassi. That started the run of like bad goalie play at Hopkins that went on for like a decade.
so, well, Pierce Bassett was there. Pierce Bassett was good for a couple years.
Oh yeah, no, the 2020, yeah,
It was after he left. It was after he left.
that was Petro's first try to rebound after the big early run.
But yeah, those are the 2 big Duke teams I think of. Is 08 and 14. Or other than that, they kind of all run together. I mean, they're all they're all really good. And this last year's team was close to that tier. If they'd won the title, I think you maybe could argue to put them in it. Obviously, they came up a little bit short. Man, Duke just feels a little off kilter here.
Yeah, why? It feels like I didn't see Brennan with the ball at all.
No, well, I mean, I don't feel like they've had a settled sort of possession in a couple minutes. So it hasn't settled down. This is well, this is kind of what I've been talking about. My one sort of worry with them is, they do feel like when the game gets chaotic, that they're, are, sped up. They kind of struggle in that environment. They're a very, it's kind of vanilla with them. The game has to be just solely 6-on-6. Another unsettled look, Jameson bails him out. He's bailed him out a couple times here. That's the end of the quarter.
3-1.
Cuse had the paces to Cuse's liking. It's fast. The crowd's gonna be crowd into it right now. This is what Cuse want. Duke not settled, getting Zawada, involved behind the cage. I think this is what Cuse wants right now.
All right, commercial break. Yeah, you want to go back to quick?
Yeah, Mark just mentioned in the chat. I mean, I think that's why. Yeah, Duke hasn't matched up well with Notre Dame in you know a couple years. I mean, when you think about the like that trio, like Trevor team, Duke, Notre Dame, Virginia, it's really a styles make fights kind of thing. The Duke Virginia one, I don't know. That thing's just weird. I don't know how to make heads or tails of that thing. But Notre Dame, Virginia. Um, the way that one always worked out was that Virginia was always able to, because of the size of the poles, the big gorillas back there. They could always really take the Kavanaughs out of the game plan, and they could really force the onus on Virginia's midfielders to beat them, or pardon me, they could force the onus on Notre Dame's midfielders to beat them. And Virginia really had such great shorties the last couple of years. Now this time feels like a different factor. Virginia's shorties are not as good this year, so now Notre Dame is not as deep at midfield, so that'll be interesting to watch for. Virginia's poles are still beasts, so that'll be something interesting to watch. Like, that is one thing Maryland really had success with last. Was like Spanos had a big game. Like anytime he isolated behind a shorty behind the cage, he had success. But so that'll be something interesting. Virginia shorties to me are not as good as they were a year ago. I don't know if Notre Dame's middies are as good, but if your shorties aren't good, you can still kind of get after them, I think. So, but that's where Virginia always kind of had the success with Notre Dame. Now Notre Dame won the Final Four. I mean, Corrigan just drew up, incredible plays late in that game. They had some just phenomenal executed offense. Duke Notre Dame, Notre Dame could always run by Duke shorties. And then in chaos, I think they really thrived in, causing Duke, problems. Duke is not a team that rides. Notre Dame rides a lot. So I think that was the factor. And then, but the Duke Virginia one, I don't really. It's just something goes on there, in that sort of game. But yeah, there is when you kind of dive into it, there is a style kind of make fights element with those kind of three teams. That because if you look at it, Notre Dame has won a lot of the recent matchups with Duke. Duke has won a lot of the recent matchups with, Virginia had won a lot of the recent matchups with Notre Dame. Notre Dame's win over the Final Four was their first win over Virginia in 6 years?
Yeah.
So it's not totally just kind of luck, flip of the coin to those kind of results.
Absolutely.
Anyhow, Safe, what were you going for?
No, I was just saying that you want to go on the polls or just go right to on time status for teams or.
I don't know. I think anyone really changed?
Well, I think Hopkins and Maryland. I think I'm thinking Fuchsia maybe. For at least.
I think Hopkins. I mean,
I think the Navy loss is bad.
I think they're white. I just think they're back. I think they're back to sort of square. They're just kind of neutral right now. Hopkins. Hopkins, Syracuse, and Maryland. Are sort of all right now. Kind of I think if you saw Mark's bracketology projection. I don't know if you posted it. But
the first one. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think when you kind of I think he was sharing with me. Oh man, another Duke turnover. They're just sort of all in a wad right now. When you kind of look at their sort of, where they kind of factor in. Hopkins is still, had some good performances and done a lot, but obviously they've set themselves maybe a bit behind the eight ball with that Navy loss. Maryland. We know what that team looks like right now. We talked about it on the Saturday show. The offense has got to, improve if they're going to be able to win these games against the top teams. And obviously with kind of McNaney's recent performances, it's and when Weirman was out against Brown, we saw some of the weaknesses in their sort of face-off defense goalie kind of foundation. In terms of that's how they're going to beat these top teams. They don't they're not in they look like they took a step back from that top 4 tier. You know, Penn State, probably back to green. I mean, maybe you could argue their offense is really elite. I think we talked about the offensive, like the adjusted efficiency. The problem Penn State, thing about Penn State, like their offense is 9th, their defense is 4th. So, and their save percentage is 5th. Frassian is really doing a lot for that defense, I think. The question is, Duke gets a goal here, make it 3-2. 1 face-offs for Penn State. Like, what do they look like in a game against, like a Notre Dame or Duke, at the face-off department? But 2, I mean, we saw them against Duke last year. They didn't have Posey. Now they don't even, Parnham. Like, if those guys come back, I think Penn State is in this tier. If they get those guys back, I think they can hold up. And I think the way they can score, I think the fact they have Frassian back there, I think makes them a national title contender. If they don't, I think they are more in that. I think they're probably more in the Maryland Hopkins group. For me, I still kind of have questions about the defense. But obviously, Frassian is an X factor. Like he's just a different. He's one of those goalies. Like same what we've seen for Jamison for Duke. And he steals goals, and it's certainly, something you got to, account for. Other than that,
one other one. I didn't know. Are we keeping Maryland Green? You think, or
Maryland White? Yeah, I think they're just like we had them in at the start of the year. But look, we had Duke, Notre Dame, Virginia as these top 3. I think they're in that top. The interesting one for me is
Cornell? Because I was going to turn them white, Jake.
Cornell, I'd turn them that fuchsia, like that Michigan one. Like, look, they got a big win. They, the defense is still an atrocity.
No.
Like, it's just so bad. Like, it's so bad. Looks like we're up to, I think we got 21 views. So thank you, folks, for joining us. This has been a lot of fun. I think this is like, I don't know if we've had a house this big. So, love it. Here are the box office, baby. The one that's interesting to me is Virginia and Army. So, Virginia's 6th in offensive efficiency and Army's 7th. In defensive efficiency, Virginia is 20th. And Army's 39th. Now, like, that is a bit of a difference. Like, it's 27.2 to 29.7. But still, Virginia to Notre Dame and Virginia to Duke, and even Virginia to, like, Maryland, like, obviously, I mean, Virginia, won the game, but, like, Virginia to Hopkins, like, like, the difference with Hopkins and Virginia, let's say, is, like, 1.2. And the difference between Virginia to Army is 2.5. So it's, about double that. But you can see, like, neither of those teams play great defense. I think I saw Lars's post-game presser. Like he said, we took a step defensively against Maryland. It wasn't, wasn't a big thing. It was a step. Face-off percentage. Virginia 56.7, Army 61.3. Difference is goalie play. Like I wonder how much goalie play is really kind of holding Army back. Like Army's sub 50%. Matt Nunes has been pretty strong for Virginia. That's something I kind of like. Army and Virginia kind of feel similar to me a little bit. Like they both have offenses that can put the ball in the cage. They both have great face-off guys that can kind of cover up for that defense a little bit. And they both have like the weakness appears to be me is the shorties. It's like AJ Pilot back there for Army's an all-American caliber defender. And Army's got some poles like who can really cover up guys. But like in the Cuse game we saw it for Army, the weakness was Army defended Spallina and they defended Hiltz. They defended me like they shut. It was the middies they couldn't cover. And Virginia feels the same thing. So that's my I'm curious is we kind of view it like the ACC, those three, and you have Army at one, and you wonder, like, is Army just sort of, placeholder? Like, can Army match up with those teams? And the best I've seen of Duke and Notre Dame looks pretty darn good. Can Army match that? I'm not sure. But the best of Army versus the best of Virginia, that'd be interesting. That would be an interesting match. That'd be an interesting game, I think.
Yeah, Army's good with the possessions, a third plus or minus adjusted possessions like cross reference. So I think that definitely helps the fact that save is kind of pretty pedestrian at 49.2. But so you're thinking if Army and Virginia met up like a quarterfinal, that would be decent chance for Army. Is that kind of where you're getting at? Or
Yeah.
because I agree with you. I mean, just the way that they played Cuse and haven't really not just dropped it, they have not just avoided a bad loss, but they've kind of dominated teams lately as well. I think this one against North Carolina is going to be a big test for me because like if they can get 2-0 against the ACC, even if it's not the top tier teams, it's still pretty good sign that they're built for the distance.
Oh, I mean, look. I mean, if they beat UNC, I mean, like, they're going to be, like, really finely poised. I mean, look, they could get the 1 seed. Like, I mean, it's not out of the question, Like, they could get the 2. It's not like, I mean, you can't, it's hard to say right now.
Then more 3 RPI.
But yeah, it could be a quarterfinal game. Yeah, it'd be who's to say where it shook out. But yeah, like I mean I don't know when it happened. I'm just kind of thinking like thinking of matching up these teams, and it feels like the way it's shaken out is that those 3 ACCs are maybe a cut above, but I don't know. I think that Army Virginia, that feels like a more competitive game to me than that feels like I'd like to see that game. I mean, I'd like to see all these games. Like, don't get me wrong. Hughes just failed to clear, or did they? Oh, they got away. Hughes has gotten a couple, escaped with a couple clears here. One of them led to a goal. They just got away with another one here. But yeah, that's the game I think I'd be interested in. I'd like to see Penn State. Obviously Penn State. The thing with Penn State, we just don't get to see them against these teams. They're the one who doesn't schedule with the ACC. So obviously, I'd love to see. I mean, we saw them against them. I mean, ooh, what a shot!
Yeah.
From Roa. He's got some shooters. But yeah, I'd love Penn State. We saw them against Duke, and I mean, Penn State was one of the biggest Final Four underdogs ever, and they took Duke to the wire. So certainly, I would like to see these games. But yeah, I think Army. If I was thinking of it right now, if I'm putting it in tiers, I would go Duke Notre Dame feels the top 2. Then I think I don't think it's like 1. I think it's those ACC 3 and then a tier. I think it's Duke Notre Dame, then a tier to Army and Virginia. To me, and then I think I might put Penn State in that tier. Maybe, I don't know. I think I need to see more. With Penn State. But I think Penn State might be in a, and I'd probably go Penn State, Maryland, Hopkins. God, who else? Pull up the recent poll. Cuse, yeah, Cuse is in there. Do you put Yale in there?
No, just to get no on but I would put Penn State if they go like 4-1 or 5-0 in the Big Ten. And the only thing that they lost this year was like kind of
No,
Like
I'm thinking like I would go. Yeah, I mean, I
I put
tier one's Duke Notre Dame. Tier two is Army Virginia. Tier three is Maryland, Hopkins, Syracuse. Who else is in there with them?
well, I was saying Penn State. I think is
Penn State's in
already
there.
there, but
Penn
it's
State's in
not.
there for sure. Penn State's in there for
I think
sure. But
I think they get another one stage above too if they
they
do
could
it.
be. They could be. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Penn State's probably the top. Penn State's at the front of that tier. So Penn State, Maryland, Hopkins, Syracuse. Syracuse might be. Look, Syracuse wins this game against Duke. You need to consider
Syracuse is a
moving
bump.
them into that Army Virginia tier, maybe. Um, so
They've already
Syracuse,
played
Penn
Army
State,
to a overtime.
very close. Obviously, played Maryland very close. But Maryland got the win. Penn State, Maryland, Hopkins, Syracuse. Is Yale? Look, as much as we kind of
I
look
would
at
put
Maryland's,
Georgetown before I put Yale.
yeah, I just think as much as we look at Maryland's offense and we be like, man, like Maryland's offense is above average. Yale's defense is bad. Like it's just Maryland can overcome that offense. I still don't know if Yale can overcome that defense. I don't know. I don't know. I struggle. I struggle with that one. I think it goes. I would go tier 3. So tier 1 is the favorites. Tier 2 is Final Four. Tier 3 is quarterfinal to me, and it's Penn State, Hopkins, Maryland, Syracuse. That gives you 8 teams.
Yeah.
So then I would go after that: Yale, Denver, Georgetown. Georgetown's hard to say. I didn't see Georgetown, but Georgetown right now in offensive efficiency is 13th. In defensive efficiency, they're 20. They are 25th, but again, a lot of that is like really awful.
The early game.
Yes, Georgetown looks very similar to Maryland right now. Is basically what I'll say. Georgetown and Maryland look very similar. So I think we need to see more. The Richmond game this weekend will be very interesting to see. You know, like how do they fare? Can they beat them like Maryland and Virginia did? Georgetown, Denver in a couple weeks, big game.
That's gonna be
So I go Yale, Georgetown, Denver. That's my 3 after that. That's like pushing on quarterfinal.
And getting all of the Ivies in one slot.
Like Cornell, Princeton, Penn,
and Harvard. The rest of
Harvard. Yale looks like the favorite.
Just like a clown car.
Defense allergic, optional. You know, sold separately.
Pick up vaccinated for defense.
You know, not been vaccinated.
I just imagine being one of the mascots with like a patch, like. Dude.
But yeah, I don't know. That's so that's
So I scored in a fair, Jake. 4-2. It's nothing to say.
It's not an exhilarating game. I would say it feels like both teams are kind of. Adam.
Goalie plays pretty strong. You've noted, but Jameson and Mark too. I think Mark's made some nice stops on too.
Adam posted in our 9 Duke turnovers. Man, that's not good. Adam put in our DMs not to but he's like just this is like the twice a year Duke game where they just like don't run offense and everyone just takes a turn dodging, and it does kind of feel that way. Like, there's just not a lot happening here. Yeah. There's O'Neal. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you saw these games happen when it was just O'Neal, and Duke timeout with 2:36. But it felt like with Zawada, you could kind of get out of this because you got Zawada behind the cage who can, spin that ball around X. It felt like there was less a chance of this happening, but still happens.
Daniel looks good. Oh God, here we go. Jake, you're gonna love the next graphic. I'm a little bit ahead, so I don't want to spoil game details, but I'll definitely. I think you're gonna enjoy
Is this
this.
just Panofsky, Simmons?
It's what we talk about. Succession. Um, all right. So we can just comparing the national polls. Pretty much everyone still has Army at the top, except for U.S. Lacrosse Magazine, who has Fire Irish at number one. Most part, pretty unison for the next 4 or 5. Everyone has some combination of Virginia, Duke, Penn State, and Syracuse. Again, U.S. Lacrosse Magazine, a little bit of an outlier.
I just want it to be said that like anytime
They're
we
the
ever
best
get
life.
accused of like like the cross commission, the Big Ten homer site, the Maryland homer site has Maryland ranked lower than every other poll.
Yeah. I put them outside the top 10.
Safe had Maryland outside the top 10. I
Well,
literally
unheard of.
DM'd Safe Sunday night. I was like, Safe, what happened to the game we love?
You all right? You having a stroke? This is either the first or last
Well,
time
for
of
the
stroke.
record, I'm not saying it's like reasonable. Like look, I mean it's the way that, but it's just like it's a complete crazy thing.
No, Maryland has had a comfortable like 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom, nice little like flat in lower Manhattan, positioned in my top 10 for like the last 3 years. Yeah, pretty much since 2021. Maryland's
3
like
years, Safe, like a decade.
no, for sure. But I meant like of like super like 1, 2, or 3. Like
Safe, when's the last time you ranked Maryland outside the top 10?
But yeah, that for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Did
But,
you do it last year?
yeah,
At any point last year?
I can look that up real quick. No, I don't. Maybe.
I feel like it might have happened.
Sorry, I don't want to lose our thing here. Let me see. Let's open up another tab. Sorry.
If it didn't happen last year, it's like never. It's never happened.
All right, so we'll go to like week 9 last year. Maryland 4. That would have been week 12. 6.
You had them 9th in week 8.
Yeah.
I think that's as low as. I think that's as low as you got.
The 7th, I think that was after the Loyola loss, right? February 11th.
After the. No,
Because I had
as low as you got was 9th.
I had like early on. Yeah, I think I had them preseason number 1 probably because of
I think it was after the Michigan loss. You ranked them 9th.
Yeah,
the first
I
Michigan.
had preseason number 1. Then the first week 1A poll I had them number 1. They lost to Loyola. I had them 7th. And then probably what was it, like week 8?
Yeah, it was like
week 8, April 2nd, pretty much almost 1 year ago today. Yeah. So probably last time outside top 10. Yeah, probably maybe that 2019 year, like the final poll. But
even then, that would have been. I can look that up.
I would probably put in top 8 because I usually try to keep it somewhat close to how they finish in the NCAA. But still 4-2 with 1:41 to go. Cuse with the ball. It's just. I was gonna say I kind of felt like under for this game just because like Cuse has had has played better on defense this year than last and a couple years prior, but definitely wasn't expecting this slow of a game, no scoring of a game in the first half. Yeah, again, it feels like Brennan just this is. Second shot of his kind of well off the mark. That's what the live stats say about this game.
Safe and back. I think this would have been like uh, after the Hopkins game, maybe. 2019, you had him ranked like sixth. The first Hopkins loss. So the second one maybe would have had him ranked, you know, eighth, ninth, 10th. So
That was the just because you were on the road for the first round of that NCAA's, and then
yeah, yeah. This Duke offense is, it's been bad.
it's off today.
This is really.
You gonna pull something off before the half? All right, so let me. All right, Jake, at the half, your live stats. Team stats. Shots on goal, pretty even. Extra man pieces at full time.
Actually, 5 times as many turnovers as goals.
That's where, yeah. And overwhelming majority of those are unforced turnovers. Only 4 total college turnovers this game. 14 total turnovers this game. Clearing seems to be pretty clean. After we went on a little bit about the problems in clearing in the country. 12-13 for Duke, 13-14 for Cuse. But yeah, I think it's the lack of offensive production by Duke that's kind of really shocking. So Neal has 5 shots, no goals, has 1 assist. Sawada, only 2 shots, only 1 goal, no points at all. McCourty has 1 of the goals, and Johnson's got the other. But yeah, like, just feels like no flow, no real rhythm to this. Hughes, on the other hand, let's see there. Shots. All right, so Hiltz leads the way with 4 shots, but he's got a goal. Thompson 3. Then a combination of Leo, Broswell, Stevens, and Spallina all with 2. None of those, 3 of those 4 don't have any points. Leo's the only one. Oh, sorry, any goals. Leo's the only one with only goal. Stevens does have 2 assists on the game, and then Rolo with the a goal as well to give Q's 4. Not any great deal cleaner than Duke.
Stevens is the key here. 2 assists, 2 ground balls. A couple of them I think were kind of on those like transition middle of the field. What's the face-offs at?
Did if I could do that here?
Get teams to go team stats.
Yeah, I want to leave this bubble back.
Oh yeah, sorry. Duke's won all of them. Jeez.
Yeah.
But it's been on those like kind of those clears. Like Cuse is 13-14. But they've had like a couple that have been like, they've just sort of like stolen in the middle of the field. Like Stevens I think's been a key, even though he hasn't won it on the wing. 8 of 8 for Duke, and 8 of 8 and turned into 2 goals is nuts. I'm trying to pull up the lax reference probability. At 7:37, it kind of looks like it froze at 7:37 left in the second quarter when it was 3-2 Cuse. Duke had won 100% of the faceoffs and only had 2 more possessions because they had 6 more turnovers. They had turned it over on half their possessions.
Wow.
So yeah, and like right now we can see it. They've won, you know, eight face-offs, 10. Like that's they've probably had 18, 19, 20 possessions in this game, and I mean the offensive efficiency is terrible. um, so uh, yeah, not good.
Jake, while they finish up halftime, you want to do a little pick 'em?
Absolutely. Yeah, safe. Or we can. I mean, we kind of discussed Maryland, Michigan, but where else you looking for games this weekend?
It's well, one game that's definitely off the board. Ohio State, is it Penn State? They're definitely off the board. Um, let's look at our pick'em sheet. Let's show that. I am doing horrible this year, Jake. Usually, yeah, don't want to brag. Decent pick'em guy this year. Just last weekend, kind of just absolutely atrocious. Only one win. So
Last week,
what?
I think I won. Did I go over last week?
No, we both had it was a bad week, but yeah, we both at least had one win.
Oh, that's good.
Um, uh,
Oh my god.
unbelievable. It was one of the worst. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times last weekend. Uh,
Going with Richmond, that's just and then the Prince game is under investigation by U.S. integrity. That's good.
no, it's under investigation. We're not.
All right, listen. I don't know if we need to do Penn State, Ohio State. I don't know if we need to do that. Hopkins, Rutgers. I don't know if we need to do that. Georgetown, Duke, Cuse. Obviously, we've done that. Yeah. So yeah, it'll be safe Michigan. Yale Cornell this weekend. Wow. Oh God. I guess we'll start there. Safe. Is there a line? Safe. Is there a line out for Yale Cornell?
Yes.
Oh God, what is it?
I think it was Cornell plus 2.5.
No, I'm talking over under.
Wow.
That's what I care about. Safe.
29.
That's it. 29?
Cornell is it is 29.
That's it. I'll be right back.
That was the highest number. Yeah, it's 29. Oh my God, no, it really isn't. Cornell plus 2.
That's insane.
So, sources confirmed. DraftKings listens to the cross commission. Yeah, that is the highest over under of the weekend. The only close to the other ones, North Carolina,
That's
26.5 was a high point, and
I'm going
Detroit
to tell you right now.
Utah.
Okay, the adjusted defensive efficiency this game. Yale is 42nd. They are 30.4%. So both teams' adjusted defensive efficiency is worse than 29. Like Cornell is 59th at which I'm pretty sure is they're 34%. I think that's worse than it was last weekend. Cornell is there is not a once again another week. There is not a Big Ten ACC Ivy team worse on the defensive side of the ball than Cornell. The only Big Ten ACC Ivy teams in general worse than these two are worse than Yale. It's just Brown. 4 of the worst. If you take Big Ten ACC Ivy, the 4 worst are Yale, Dartmouth, Brown, and Cornell.
Yeah.
Like, it's the Ivy. If you include Big East teams, even just in this, 4 of the 6 worst are Ivy League teams. Like Providence and St. John's are the 2 worst, but Marquette's 32nd, Villanova's 30th, Denver and Georgetown are well above that. So every Big Ten team is. Michigan is 40th, so they are just above Yale. Rutgers is 21st. Ohio State's as much as their offense is definitely on the struggle bus. The offense is the defense is greatly improved from where it was a year ago. So 29 is what was it? Remember the game they played last year in the Ivy tournament? Was like what? Like they played 2 games last year. I'm almost certain both games blew past 29.
Well, wasn't one of the games where Yale dropped 30,
Okay. The second game last year in the
Yeah.
Ivy tournament was 22-15.
Yale lost 2010 the first one.
Yeah, so that one
And
just put out.
15-22 the second. Yeah,
The second game Yale won 22-15. In 2022, when these teams played, Yale won. Cornell won 13-12. So if this game has 29, I mean that'd be 15-14. I don't see it. No,
Yale defense was giving up some numbers last year.
Yale's defense had given up some numbers this year.
Well, you remember that 3-game stretch?
Oh my god!
Yeah. Well, it was you could argue. Yeah. 4 games really, but they still won the last game against BU.
Yale has given up
20-10 to Cornell, then 23-10 loss to Princeton, 17-16 loss to Penn, and then a 17-14 win to against BU. So just giving it up pretty easy last year, and into this year.
Yale has given up this year 11, 11, 15, 13, and 15. And they win a bunch of face-off. Again, their defense is, I don't know. I'm thinking, 17, 15. I think someone might get to 20. Legitimately possible.
I mean,
if you ask me who I go with, my answer is Yale because I think they go the face-offs. I don't think Princeton was just able to the run Princeton went on in that late second quarter, early third. It was at will, and I think Yale could do similarly. I don't think Yale has the clearing problems that Princeton has that sort of lets Cornell back in this game. But I mean, look, as Princeton saw, when your defense is vulnerable, and I mean, Princeton, I thought they were architects of their own demise again. When you clear that badly and you just have second chance opportunities again and again and again, you're just gonna you're gonna open yourself up to it. So that's a big factor in it. As with Yale, it's look, when your defense is you always say, you can't outscore a bad defense. Yale is going to have to outscore a bad defense to win this game. Now I think they can out face off some of it too, and they're going up against a worse defense. So that's my gut. Is why I go with Yale. But it's can you be confident? No, because what if Jared Paquette has a bad game, and Tully for Cornell has a better game. Well, that could be the difference. What if one team, what if one team just takes way more penalties than the other? Well, that can be a factor. Like when you
I
just
mean,
have defenses like this, and offenses like this as well. Both offenses are great. Who knows?
like, let's put it this way: Harvard was 15 of 24 on shots on goal. So the Prince, they were unable to control possession of it. When they were able to get the ball, they were able to put it in net. Cornell, Harvard, to their credit, had a pretty good offense going into that game, but Cornell is even better. They're the third best adjusted offense efficiency numbers in the country. So you're right, because if just a little bit of a slippage in goal by Paquette, or just maybe don't have as dominant of a day at the face-off as they would like, and then all of a sudden maybe Cornell's really just teeing off again, maybe they almost gave up 50% for the last two games. Yale did essentially almost around 40% the last three games. Penn State game, Denver game, and got a little bit worse against the Harvard game. So I think I also picked Yale in this one. So I don't foresee them not pulling it out. But it should be, if you like goals, that'll be a game to watch, so for sure. That Princeton Harvard game, definitely lost some juice after both teams, kind of weren't able to pull it out in the end last week against, another goal. Was that Hiltz?
Syracuse finally wins a face-off.
He's up 5-2.
Cone off the draw, 6-2.
There you go. No, oh, geez. Here we go. Oh, yeah.
Here's the draw. Look at that. Man, Duke, better wake up, brother. Man, quietly, Duke. If they lose this game, it's just worth noting.
Could Cuse be the second best team in the ACC?
I mean,
maybe the best team. Maybe Duke like this.
Notre Dame's still really good. It's worth note, if Duke loses this game, Duke's best win is Princeton. I'm just kind of pointing that out. They play Denver this weekend, so that's they'll get a big but I did just see I know the results of this game Duke, it's just worth pointing that out. I'll just give you a heads up. If you go to Lax Reference and you go to the RPI and you play with the simulator, if you put in the result of this game, if Cuse wins, it will pop out of interesting a very interesting the result will shift. It will shift the current one quite a bit if this score holds. That's what we mentioned with Duke's out of conference schedule. They did not beat. They did not schedule great. And obviously, again, they played Denver. Denver is the one. But they, there were a lot of kind of lower end teams on that schedule, and then they put a lot kind of into Penn and Princeton, who were going in Look, Duke. Going into the year, Duke didn't have a single top 10 team on its schedule non-conference. So, that was just, look. It's just we're pointing out, and Yeah. This offense is, it's completely out of sorts right now.
I know I just waxed on about potentially them being a super team, but not at the same, moments later, I am looking at the 2022 schedule and just trying to do the roadmap. If they have another, lackluster non-conference schedule. They
Oh
did
no, I
lose
mean,
to
look, no, like
Syracuse that year.
they're in much better shape than that. I mean, well, no, I mean, like,
Better
right? Are
Penn
they
loss
much better
that
shape? Like,
year.
look, the opportunities are much better. Like, the opportunities are so much better because of the position the ACC is in comparison to that year. Like, they have so many better opportunities. Again, starting literally this weekend with Denver. I mean, they still got 3 opportunities. And again, of course, the ACC tournament. But no, yeah,
It's not where you want to be.
Oh no, I mean it's like there's certainly better players. I think they've hit a pipe. Yeah.
0 goals in the last 17 minutes.
Not great. Not great.
Not great, Bob.
I would try and do better.
Yeah, how did this all start? Yeah, but I'm going with Princeton at the
Princeton Harvard. Yeah, put me down for Princeton. Yeah, I think they get those clearing kind of figured out. I don't like either team's defense. I like Harvard's offense. They can score. I think Princeton will win some face. I mean, they a little clearing. Gio didn't have a great game. I think he'll bounce back. So I'm kind of I think I'll lean Princeton, but put me in for Yale as well. Cornell. Oh, out in front.
Oh my God. It's concerning time.
We're past it now.
You need a timeout here, maybe.
No, you got one.
Man, I was not expecting this. I thought if like Cuse one would be, kind of close.
Yeah, expect goals. I mean, I think both teams' defenses are solid, but I don't love either of them.
Wanted to check out. Yeah, so Mark's having a phenomenal night. 11 saves.
It doesn't feel like he has to work that hard, though.
No. But there were a few in the first half where, Duke had pretty nice, clear opportunities, pretty open in front of the net. Mark's able to make a couple nice saves. But yeah, just Duke offense is all out of sorts. Only 1 assist the entire night. As Adam said, not a lot of ball movement. Guys kind of just taking turns dodging. Ground balls, I mean, they're winning in that battle, but I think that's probably.
What's that? I mean, how many take away? What is it? What's the differential?
Exactly 3.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, take away the ones off the faceoffs, and that's you win. 80-90% of the faceoffs, and you got that. That's not going to cut it.
Yeah, I was going to say, given the lack of offensive, scoring in this game, we are making phenomenal time. It's almost like halfway through the third quarter. So, we may end this game before 2 hours.
It's felt longer than that, but yeah. Is Gake trying to go on mullet?
If you saw that main, I saw that there.
Now Syracuse is winning faceoffs, and this is this is just a bad night for Duke.
Yeah.
Like this is a bad night. It's not.
So why is the water and Brendan O'Neill props are doing that well? But Jake, I did throw a little bit on the money line and cover for Syracuse. So you love to see it.
None of this is going well. Hughes being able to do this without the faceoffs in that first half is, hugely impressive. Like this team's just the talent level on this team is there to compete with these high end, teams now. And the confidence I think is the big thing. Like you saw it like in some of those like ground ball battles in the middle of the field, like that to me is really like they've won a lot of ground ball battles in the middle of the field they were not winning in the past. That I think that Hopkins, they're throwing the ball away a little here though. But that win over Hopkins was huge. It's it's just one of those things like you don't know how to win until you know how to win.
To do it, yeah.
And just getting that one win over Hopkins was I think just huge for this team. So yeah, you just kind of can't. I don't think you can really overstate how massive that win was for Hughes. And like, look, they did try to give it away at times, Certainly, like it was not by any means a clean sort of path to win. Like Hopkins got back into that, by kind of the skin of their teeth. But the fact that they got that win now, it feels like a team that's playing with the restrictor played off a little bit. They're playing loose. The fourth quarter is still different, though. It's still Hughes, even in these games, against Army and Maryland and Hop, like they've always been great early in the game. The fourth quarter has kind of been the question. So if Duke can get into this game, let's say they get a pick for Brennan here, and Brennan just like he's trying to throw the ball back, and no one's making, trying to get open for it. Like there's just no one knows what anyone else is trying to do. If Duke can get back into this, I think it'd be apply some pressure, force Cuse to close it out, make it interesting. But yeah, Cuse Duke just don't have any idea what they're doing out there. Hughes getting a little sloppy here. Not what you want. 5-goal lead.
Yeah, you want to eat clock, but still be aggressive here.
Oh no! There's no. I would know. It's 5 minutes left in the third quarter. You need to go get this to 10-2. Score as many as you can here. Run this up.
Jake, how are you feeling about Charland of Michigan?
I think they'll be. I mean, look, it's a different, you know, it's not what it used to be with Maryland. I mean, look, before Maryland, there was a certain degree of, for a couple of years there, it was, uh, like any opponent below a certain level, and it was, geez, Q's just putting the body into him, man. Uh, any opponent, aside from level, if it was, for a couple of years at Maryland, if it wasn't a top 20 opponent, it was like they ain't got a chance, and it ain't like that anymore. It's different, it's just different. It's a different team, it's different. Uh, this is not a game where the team can really expect to rely upon face-offs as being a factor, or being as pointing in their favor, the way they has in other games, because Michigan really won the face-off matchup in both of these games last year. Now, a big part of that was we felt won 12 of 15 against Weirman a year ago. Just dominated in the first matchup. That was, he won 12 of 15. In the second matchup, he was 6 of 9. So 18 of 24. He dominated Weirman. Now, some of that you could argue, Q's 8 too. Some of that I think you could argue maybe Michigan was splitting with Rowlett and Wheatfeld. Wheatfeld was fresher. Now he's got to take all the draws. Does that change, kind of the calculus a little bit of it? But this could be a game where Maryland's got to win it without having the face-off advantage, and that does make it, more concerning to a degree. The positive I do potentially see is that, and this is a game where I think the offense should be able to have success. Michigan's defense is not great. I think that's been a weakness for them. Even in Michigan's game against Harvard, where they dominated on faceoffs, Harvard was able to just kind of keep coming back at them and score. And so I think Maryland's offense will be able to have success in this game. The Brown game, they were able to score goals, even without having the success on the faceoffs that they usually do. And conversely, defensively, their trouble spot last year was really in defending Bame and Zawada. Zawada gave Maryland a lot of problems last year, especially he gave Brett Makar a lot of problems in his ability to kind of... Makar was such a great defender at defending behind the cage. He defended X very well. But if you got him above X and above GLE, kind of, towards the top of, the box, Zawada could really give him a lot of problems with his dodging. And Maryland really, focused on putting Zapatello on Mikey Bame. So that matchup was a Duke finally gets back on the scoreboard there. Zawada, speaking of. But with no Zawada there for Michigan this year, it's really a lot focused on Bame. And I think you put Zapatello on him and you expect to kind of win that matchup. For Michigan, it really revolves around their midfielders. And their midfielders are really good. Guys like Christian Ronda, Isaac Aronson. I do think there are some kind of maybe questions with Maryland kind of shorties, but I think if Maryland's able to take away, Bame, I think they can be able to more effectively support those matchups. So I think it's a game where, you know, Maryland can kind of control the matchups more than the 6-on-6. You know, they'll need McNady to kind of be back to his best, but I just think this is a game where they're going to lock in. I think after the way they got just throttled, yeah, like it was a thumping in these two games the last 2 years, or the last two games, last year. That's not something that this program is accustomed to. It's not, how games against them usually goes. And I think it'll be similar to kind of what like Virginia really came out, as we saw, really I think motivated to win that game. I think you kind of see this, it's just sort of how sports kind of goes, when there's a little extra edge for a team. I think it can be a factor. So I think it'll be tough. Look, it's Maryland games are going to be tough if they don't have the face-off edge, but I think they'll be able to kind of, overcome that with kind of a weaker Michigan defense and being able to effectively defend them. With Zapatello taking away Bame, so I'm gonna lead Maryland by 3 or 4. If their offense can this will be tough. Like if their offense can go out there and really put up like 15 plus, I think that'll be a really encouraging sign. And get McNaney back to the best. I think that'll be what kind of looking for. Like I'm expecting 3 to 4. If it's more than that, I think that'd be an encouraging. I think that'd be really encouraging win. Look, I mean, they need to win. Any win will work. If it's, I think I'm expecting kind of a tight. I don't know what the line is. In this one, I'm presuming 2-ish. 3. If they cover, if they cover, that's like that'd be a that would be towards I consider that a pretty encouraging performance towards trending in the right direction. Notre Dame won by 10. I don't think they Harvard beat them by 2. Virginia and Notre Dame beat them by 8, 10. They're not at Virginia Notre Dame's level, but if they can trend more towards that end, offense have their best performance of the season or towards that, I think that would be positive.
Jake, I switched my pick midway through because I was like, you know what? Not saying it's a dire situation, but yeah, I could definitely see a circle the wagons thing going on. And you kind of look at Maryland. I mean, they have 2 losses. The Notre Dame loss wasn't that great. Was blowout, but it was a convincing Notre Dame win. And the Virginia game, for at times when Virginia really got going, but Maryland was kind of in it for a little while. So like, kind of felt like Michigan may not be playing the same level that they were when they beat Maryland last year. And I think Maryland kind of, I like Tillman when he has like an edge and trying to, not underdog really because Maryland's still Maryland, but like, you're like trying to prove something type of thing. So I can definitely see like a nice bounce back this week against Michigan. You always kind of, nice away game business, where it's just a business trip, that type of thing, kind of clears your mind, focus, get away from maybe College Park, and just kind of, I think players, especially young college ones, like respond to kind of like us against the world type of thing. So I don't think Maryland's like backs against the wall, but a nice little victory here. Start off Big Ten play. Nice. I don't know if they need to feel revenge or anything, but like Maryland did get kind of embarrassed last year and got swept by the Wolverines. So, and we failed to mention Jake, just the handshake between Connery and Tillman. So
it's gonna be a whole Big Ten slate or season of handshakes from Maryland. Handshakes, gloves, just all of it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, really good. But so yeah, all that, and you're persuasive in this. I was like, you know what? I think let's go with the Terps here. That's just my pick over there to Maryland. Georgetown, Richmond. I mean, Adam picked Richmond, but I kind of see Georgetown taking this pretty comfortably. Richmond had a nice little home slate. Unfortunately, hasn't been able to pull off any victories against the big time teams that came to visit. Maryland game, notwithstanding, it was had a chance in that one, but weren't able to pull it off. I just think Georgetown, talent-wise, is going to pose a challenge for Richmond. Last year's game, if I'm not mistaken, that was like a blowout city. I gotta feel like didn't Georgetown win like it felt like 15-6 or something like that? Let me just find that real quick.
Oh, Georgetown, Richmond. Georgetown, once Georgetown got clicking last year, yeah, and this is probably in the middle of the year, they really just like.
Oh, no, this is actually a much closer game, 12-13. I must have been thinking of.
I would say, I kind of get the vibe of Richmond's had a lot of these, it kind of felt like at the end of like. Look, the win here would be it'd be good, but at this point their season is the A10. And so
see that graphic?
Scoring droughts? Yeah.
They're gonna call him Big John over there.
The Maryland one for 20 minutes. The Maryland one felt like an hour in that game. It really felt like really not feel like Maryland could score. But then after that, honestly, the Maryland offense Maryland played late in that Cuse game was the best offense of their this season. I don't want to. It's just Richmond's season is the A10. Like they could win this game over Georgetown and be great. It's not making a difference. Like, and so I just think like their focus at this point is going to be towards what's coming after. And it's just, and then like you look at the home, like they've had some great crowds at this point. This will probably be the least of them, compared to the other ones. It's the least, sizzle for the opponent. They just come off getting blown out. I worry about a letdown a little bit. I kind of, I do. Yeah, I kind of, I just don't. It's. If you win this, it's not a big. I don't think it's a big win. It's nice to have. I mean, like but you beat a non-top 10 team, Georgetown, not at their kind of best. Like it. It would feel it'd be honestly be a little too late. So I do kind of worry a little bit of a letdown for this one, and I think that's why I go with Georgetown. Whereas I think Georgetown's, again, like I think Richmond will get an A10 play, and I think they'll play very well. And I think St. Joe's is definitely kind of on the ascendancy. I still would have Richmond as my favorite in the league. I lean Georgetown on this one, and I get the feeling it would be, I wonder if it might be, I don't think it's gonna be like a 9 goal, but I wonder maybe 5-6, maybe lean comfortable Georgetown win.
I'm feeling that too. I think the Hoyas are gonna pull this one out. Last game on our pick'em is Georgetown's Big East foe, Denver, taking on the Duke Blue Devils, and what tends to be a great out of conference matchup. First one without Coach Tierney on the sideline for a little while between the two. I went with Duke, but what's happening right now, Jake? I changed my pick. I believe this is at Duke, right?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
When I would definitely wouldn't like it was back-to-back road games for the Blue Devils, but oh, you know what? Line for this one's not up because Duke's obviously still playing this game, so they usually put those lines later on.
I mean, I think Duke will bounce back and get the win, but it's getting to, look, when I say 2022, I don't mean like Duke missing the tournament in 2022 was an aberration. It was a bizarre 1 in a million type outcome. In a different year, Duke makes the tournament in that season. Duke Denver's at a neutral site. Oh, Jesus, every team's at a freaking neutral site. Like, what am I supposed to do with all these? Anyhow, in a different year, Duke makes the tournament in 2022. But the type of team Duke was in 2022 was they played up and down to the level of their opponent. So, you didn't know what team you were going to get. Like, you had the year where they blew out, or you had the game where they dominated Virginia, and then you had the game where they lost to what bad team did they lose to in 2022? It's at a random high school in Maryland, of course. They lost some, they lost some bad games in 2022 as well. They lost the close one to Penn, in the last second. So,
Jacksonville, Loyola.
Did they lose to Jacksonville in 2020? Oh yeah, it was that Loyola game. They lost. They horrible.
That was the hit that I really think
yes.
Because at that point in time,
that was the one that left them out. It was they lost. It was just.
I 100% agree. It was another bad out of conference loss, and then you go right to the in conference where everybody was just fighting for that knife.
And this is what I'm feeling like when I'm watching Duke right now is that I'm not. It's not so much up and down to the level of the competition because Cuse looks like they might be
good.
Top 5 team, really but it is it's up. You don't know what you're getting from this team any given game. It's just so there's just the aberration is just so it's just peaks and valleys. It's just not consistent, and it doesn't make like we saw with Duke in 2020. 2022 and also 2021 even to a degree. It's it doesn't make sense why it's like this. Why is the offense looking like this? Why is it
I was feeling because I was I've been all over the place with 2 weeks ago. I was not that they were going through the motions, but they had almost a cold indifference to any game besides Memorial Day Monday. Started off the show with saying, "Are they a super team, Jake?" And we're not paying attention.
I said an hour and a half ago, I thought they were a top 2 team in the country, a tier above everyone else, and now it's
down 6.
Still
down, yeah. And now we're comparing the resumes for 2022, a little bit here.
Again, I fully expect they're going to make the tournament. They, but there's O'Neal at last. But it doesn't make any sense why the offense looks like this. It shouldn't look like this. Why are guys just taking turns dodging? Why did it take 3.5 quarters for them to run an invert behind the cage? Why is Zawada getting a step on his man routinely but no one's moving off ball? Why does it look like this? It shouldn't. And even your point about looking sluggish, or to a degree, I thought, to me, when I thought about them at the start of the year, I thought they'd come out with trying to lay the hammer down on teams. This is the team. They are the one team in the last 3 or 4 years of their rivals that hasn't won the championship yet. They're the one with something to prove. Brian Boyle said at the start of the year, Brendan O'Neal's career is a failure if, he doesn't win a national championship. And I was like, whoa! And I'm and listen, a lot of people took offense to that, and he's credit Ryan. And look, Ryan Boyle doesn't say things unless he believes it. He's not a hot take, kind of guy. He meant it. And it's a fair point out. The expectation for that guy's career and this Duke run was multiple national championships. They got 0, at this point. So I thought, to me, at the start of it, like they'd come out with a vengeance, like a point to prove, And so the fact that they've kind of come out, like the Penn game, I thought was their non-conference schedule didn't prepare them for what was March. Their March was going to be a real escalation. They were going to have Penn and Princeton one weekend. Then they're going to have like Loyola, Richmond, and this real stretch up to Cuse and Denver. And I just thought like that their non-con the first month February was bad. Like they played nobody. So I thought like Penn, they looked undercooked. But then after that, they blow out Princeton. They beat Loyola. They really dominate. Like again here, no backup. Like come like
I was waiting for that.
So, but this now makes me look. Was Penn less of like being undercooked and more just like this team is just not locked in and engaged week to week, and that's the one thing you can say about this team that you cannot say about Notre Dame. Notre Dame's always locked in. Every week, Notre Dame is locked in with Kevin Corrigan. Virginia is always locked in with Lars. Maybe they don't always win, but they're always locked in. Maryland with John Tillman is always locked in. And so that's what separated them from their rivals in terms of winning a championship. They have had more talent than everybody else the last 5 years. They are, the most talented team in the country. 16 turnovers. That's just, I ain't gonna do it. So, yeah, it's, it is, you don't want to ever overreact, too much to one. That's the Saban mark. He's had a big game. You don't want to overreact over too much, but they, too much to one loss, one win, but this is a real this is an egg. I mean, this is a real egg.
He's good to reset. Yeah, this is going to be a nice one for Syracuse. And
Cuse is really, Cuse is in business.
just another one of our preseason predictions going right, Jake.
It was amazing. I was the guy who had to talk some of my Cuse people off the ledge a little bit after the Maryland loss. Maryland lost. So there was some people like, I was like, look, they're gonna win one. They're gonna win some of these games. Trust, it's gonna happen.
This is the only time I've seen Duke feel like they're playing with a little urgency. But I mean, down 6 with 6 minutes to go, kind of does that to you,
Yeah, you gotta play like this all the time. It's one of my things with Maryland when if I have a kind of criticism, I don't the way the team kind of plays right now, I don't feel like they push transition enough. When I watch this kind of Maryland team, it feels like kind of the way that I watch the team, the way it feels like Tillman. I don't know. He doesn't trust the offense, and it feels like because of that, he doesn't want them to He feels like if they push in transition, they'll turn the ball over, and it's like, I don't know. I feel like when you have the offense they have, you need to create offense. You need to kind of create opportunities. I feel like they're just a little too passive. Duke, to me, yeah, it feels like they've gone backwards from where they were last year, where it's just too vanilla. It's to me.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to John Odierna. I mean, even Duke puts on a couple more. Like, you hold this offense to below 8 goals, potentially like even lower than that. Still 5 minutes to play.
I
So
don't remember. What's the last time Duke scored this few goals in a game?
that's what I'm telling you, man. Like, I can't think of any time. Last year they didn't. All right, 2022. Even though they didn't make the tournament, they never scored below double digits. So 2023. Obviously, this year they've been pouring it on. 2023. Yeah, again, looks like never below double digits. Sorry, championship game they scored 9. 2021. That was the Stars, but they were having some problems with offense that year too. Never below double digits.
The Maryland game? The Maryland game? The Final Four?
Yeah, that was going to say
I think that was 5.
14-5. Maryland beat them. That was the lowest Duke scored since today. If like Syracuse holds on, like that will be the new, at least recent record. They also only scored 8 against Notre Dame earlier that year. 9 against High Point, 8 against Syracuse in a loss, 8 against North Carolina in a loss. These are all from 2019. Yeah, I think the 5 goals in the Maryland semifinal game. Open up the recap. They probably have it in the first few lines. Like, this is the first fewest goals that ever scored. 8-2 win against Notre Dame. That's crazy. They held Notre Dame to 2 goals. Remember that. 2018. All right, 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, this has been a butt whooping, flat out butt whooping. This is the best. I mean, throw it out on Twitter, or throwing out to anyone watching us, joining us here in the chat. Best Syracuse winter performance since. I'm trying to think.
Definitely best win of the Gate era.
Oh, for sure. What was the last great Desco win?
I mean, even with the playoff,
The last
playoff
playoff win was 2017. Jesus Christ. They didn't win a quarterfinal until 2013, and that was, the last quarterfinal was 2013, and that was, that was like a rescue act by Dylan Donahue and Kevin Rice. 2015 and 2017, they were 2 seeds, so they beat. Didn't they win an ACC? What was the ACC championship they won? They won in 2016. They won a couple with Desco, I know. They did beat Desco. Desco did beat Virginia the year they won the title. But that's in February. February you can always kind of throw out.
Yeah, it was either first round or quarterfinal bounced after 2010, except for the 2013 year.
I'm going to go maybe they beat Notre Dame in 2018 10-6. That's pretty up there. I mean, 2017 would have been, 2017 to be Yale. That was the year they got Yale on the first. Yeah, that might be. I mean, yeah, they got that. That was a good Yale team. That was the year they got Yale in the first round. Still have no idea how that happened. But that was
Duke loses 10-4 to Syracuse. Oh my god. Oh my god. Second top five win under Gary Gate for the last 2 weeks.
For our good pal Mark just DM me. Least goals Duke has scored since February 18th, 2012 in Notre Dame. They lost. Guess the score of that day, Safe.
Was that the championship 5-4, 6-5?
No, 2012. It was
7-8.
7. No, least goals Duke has scored since February 18th, 2012 in Notre Dame.
3?
They scored 3. What was the score? What was the final score?
5-3.
7-3.
My God. What was the championship? Was the championship like 6-5 too?
6-5.
Jesus, dude. Oh, man. See, this is what I get, Jake. They come in and try to sing their praises. We're not giving the booth over there to Jake. I kept post that question. And then, just for this collapse, because they were playing excellent coming into, at least statistic-wise. Huge win for Syracuse. You can just see the elation on the faces of all the players and coaches, too. I mean, Deanna's not going to have to buy a bagel sandwich tomorrow morning. Pick up his coffee as well.
Josh, good pal Josh Rothenberg just put in the chat. 2017, they beat number 1 Notre Dame in Arlada. Houston.
Wow, Jake.
That was crazy. I mean, good thing we'll go live. We picked some. I don't know if we picked a good one, but an interesting one.
It was historic. Man, one goal per quarter. Chiefs turned around the face-off game, won 6-9 in the second half. Duke, though, 18 turnovers total to Syracuse's 10. O'Neal limited 1 goal, 1 assist. Owen helps, big hitter for Q's 3 goals on 9 shots. Oh, man.
All right. Wow.
Glad everyone joined it.
Yes, folks. Thank you. I think we got like 36 views on this. I don't know what the numbers are, but I mean I think this is the most we've gotten on any one of these so far. So, thank you so much for joining us. It was so much fun.
Thank you, Jake, for producing.
Yes, producer Jake went off without a hitch.
Absolutely.
So we'll. I think there are 1 or 2 other Wednesday ACC games this year. So we might have to, might run this back later in the year. So keep an eye out for it. keep an eye out again. I think this
Lacrosse game that ends under 2 hours, Jake.
we did it.
We did it. We did it.
And look, listen. I think Sunday. We'll see when Safe gets. I think Safe. You said you're going to the.
I think it's a 4:30 game. Literally, it is earlier, which is better. Yeah. It's going to be at the Brunswick.
So we'll see when you get back. I think we'll probably do a taped episode for our Patreon recap this week. So if you would like to get that, subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/join/lacrosse commission. As always, if we do that, it'll be Sunday night. You'll get that in your feed Sunday night or Monday morning. And then, also the poll will be probably might be a little, because the Big Ten games might be a little later, this week, but we'll be up Monday as always. And try and get out the column, the Keys to Victory column as well. Try and get that out to you guys either late Friday or early Saturday as it's been going up. That is also on the Patreon. So, subscribe. Just $6 a month, always $6 a month gets you that column, gets you exclusive pods like the recap will do. But you got a free, free live show this, with us here. And that's, I think that's everything from us. So again, thank you so much for those of you who hopped on. Nice, cool, 2 hour 15. Had a lot of fun. Hope you guys had a lot of fun as well. And it's going to be another fun weekend. I think it's going to be a little chilly. So it's like maybe potentially record low tomorrow in the morning. So get yourself some coffee, hot chocolate, something. Stay hydrated. Becky Lynch for president. We'll see you out there.
See ya.